to jump into pattern design and illustration, and really the goal is for right now, really my goal for today is building off of the video from last week. So I really like that pattern. I think it could become a really good collection. So I want to kind of brainstorm and build off of that, and I want to bring you with me. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey, and this video is really just going to be what I get up to in kind of a day. It's 3:04, so it's not a full day, but I just got off of work at my full-time job, and now I want to jump into pattern design and illustration. And really my goal for today is building off of the video from last week. So I really like that pattern. I think it could become a really good collection. So I want to kind of brainstorm and build off of that, and I want to bring you with me to do that, so you can kind of see more of like my thought process when making a collection, thinking about a collection. So that'll be what this is. But first, you may be able to kind of see it, but my studio right now is insane. It has become kind of a dumping ground this week, and yeah, I just really need to clean it up before we start working, because clear space equals clear mind, or something like that. Actually move my pattern that I had drawn. It's just a sketch, it's not like the actual pattern, but I do want it all on one artboard. That way, as I'm designing, I am keeping in mind overall what the pattern looks like, because it's very easy to start going off on your own thing. And yes, you can make like an amazing pattern, but if it doesn't work with the original pattern in a collection, kind of defeats the point of what we're trying to do. So I'm going to bring this into, it's really just like my original sketch. It's not actually the pattern itself. If I did want the pattern itself, I would actually use my computer and just use the JPEG that I saved to put on Spoonflower, and I would just literally put it on my screen. That way I could look at it back and forth. But for the purpose of this, I'm really just making like thumbnails and quick sketches and overall like ideas of what to do. So I'm just going to bring this over. Okay, so I've tried to make the glare as not bad as possible, but it's kind of what we're working with. So I've moved this one over. This is the thumbnail, like original idea that I had, and then it's really just on a plain board. It's actually a hold on. Okay, so it is a 2000 by 2400, and that is what we're just working with. And then I'm literally gonna just make like little bitty thumbnails all around, overall trying to make a collection, a cohesive collection with this original idea. Now, as of right now, I am thinking and kind of going into this with the idea that this is not actually going to be the hero pattern. So I have a tendency to make like secondary patterns and blender patterns a lot. Sorry, my chair keeps squeaking. But I make a lot of secondary patterns and blender patterns, and when it comes to heroes, I kind of have to think about it a little bit more. Hero patterns just don't really come to me as easily as blenders and secondaries. So right now, as like we're talking through this, I'm thinking that this orange and viney pattern is actually going to be the secondary, and I'm going to make a blender and I'm going to make a hero, and then kind of work with it through that. So that's what we're thinking about right now. That might change, but as of right now, that's kind of my thought process. So we're going to get into it. You're going to watch me draw. I'm probably going to do the blender first, just because I find it to be the easiest. Like I said, those two come to me just really easy, and then the hero takes a little bit more time. So I'd rather use less of my brain power, get the blender done, and then come in and look at both of them together and then work with the hero, figure out what I want the hero to look like. And as I'm thinking about this and as I'm going to go through it, I am literally thinking of like what rooms and what like kind of home would this be in, and then seeing if I can make the whole collection that someone, if they saw the whole collection and I don't know, maybe wanted it like wallpaper or a mix of wallpaper and home textiles, this whole collection would work together. Nothing would be fighting with each other in one home. So it's kind of what I'm thinking about as I'm going to start making this. So this is what I've come up with so far. This is just going to be like a possible blender with this one. You can clearly see like where these two work together. And I know this looks like a black, but it's actually a really dark blue. As I've been like looking at this and thinking about the overall collection, I do really want to add like more colors, but especially like a really dark blue. This overall is giving me really almost like fall, maybe like a cottage or colonial kind of feeling. And I know dark blue is a big one in both of those different styles. So I definitely want to try and blend in a dark blue. I am liking this dark blue for the blender. And then possibly the hero also having a dark blue. Okay, so I've played around with it a little bit. This is what I've come up with as a kind of first draft, so you can see how I've used the dark blue. I've also used the oranges and things like that, but overall I'm adding more color. This is more interesting. So like when I said I didn't want this to be the hero, it's because it's beautiful, clearly, because I want to make a whole collection around it, but it just doesn't have that like that wow and that pop that I feel like a hero should have. This is close, but I don't know, there's just something about it that's not quite there. This feels very like juvenile, something that maybe would be in like a kid's room, which is awesome, and if that was what I was going for, this would be amazing. But I do want something that's just a bit like maybe an adult would have it in their bedroom, and this just doesn't feel it, I guess, to me. I do like certain aspects. I like, let's see, you can probably see it here. It's more textured, so I use a different brush than usual, and I like doing the mix of like a texture with my normal script brush, and just it adds a little bit more interest to it. So there's definitely aspects about this I like. There's other aspects I'm not as much of a fan of, which I'm going to fix in the next round. So I'm just going to play around with this and then see where that brings me. Version 2, so I actually have them right side by side so you can see the difference. This one I really like. I just want to make it a little bit more refined, but I'm really liking the line drawings for the flowers. I'm liking the layering, so you can see like some of the flowers are underneath other flowers. I'm really liking that. I think that's what this one was lacking, was just a sense of like depth and layers that the second one definitely has more of. I ended up cutting out the flowers. As much as I love the texture, which I did still keep in this, I used the same brush for the white part of the flower, but it was lacking a little bit of detail that I really wanted in this. So this is getting closer. I know that might get annoying that I'm not done yet, but just trust the process. Sometimes you may end up with like 15 different iterations of the same pattern. Just trust the process. It will get better and you will end up with something great. Okay, I think I'm actually going to call this video quits. I am now just going to do a whole lot more drawing and designing until we have a completed collection, but I will show you what the final one looks like. I'm not going to say this is definitely the hero pattern, but it looks awesome. I really like the way it's turned out. I love all the line art, love the colors. This is easily the most colorful pattern I have made in a very long time. And here is all three together. So you have the one we started with, the blender, and then possibly the hero. I am loving the way it's turning out. I'm loving all the colors, and now is just going to be a whole lot of drawing, a whole lot of designing until a collection is made. Now I'm really glad I was able to bring you through a very realistic viewpoint of what it is like being a pattern designer. It's not always just like one 20-minute video and we're done and I have a collection made. A lot of collections, it takes hundreds of drawings and hundreds of little designs and different colorations of those designs, and it really is a labor of love, and I really do love doing this. So I'm excited to see where this pattern goes. Of course, I'm going to take you with me as this pattern builds. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you next week.